Hello. I can't believe it's been 5 whole years since I posted on this channel. Pardon the fact that I just woke up, no makeup, just raw. I have my Nespresso here. It's just me and no one's texting me, and I haven't begun my day yet, and I just wanted to chat for a little bit about what I'm doing these days and talk about my 5 a.m. routine that's become super important to me. I have a Substack, which you're welcome to go sign up for. It's totally free. I also have an Instagram that I have been much more active on than on here. And yeah, so let's just get into it. The last time I posted on this channel, it was 2020. I was going into my last year at college, and it feels like I've lived 1 billion lives since then. I graduated from college. I got into an MFA for creative writing. I graduated with an MFA in creative writing from Syracuse University, and I got a full-time job, and I got a long-term boyfriend. I never thought I would be here. Like, I look at the my previous kind of work from 2020, and I can't believe that was me, but that was me. I had no clue what would happen for the next 5 years, but it's been amazing. It's been fantastic, and it's been horrible. And my MFA was so challenging, and I'm just so glad that it's over, but it's also something that I'm so grateful for because I feel very lucky. Not everyone gets to do an MFA, especially not a funded one. And I was lucky enough to work with writers like Mona Awad, Dana Spiotta, and George Saunders, and I feel so lucky to be able to say that. And I just am now kind of establishing my life as a writer. I needed a full-time job to support myself, and I wanted to get a full-time job that aligned with what I am good at and what I care about. I wanted a job that didn't haunt me when I was outside of the office, like I could work and I could leave the office and leave the work at the office. And that's exactly what I have. I'm working at a university in New Jersey, and I really like it, and I really like the people there, and I'm building all of these hard skills. Like, I'm building a kind of, normal career, which is crazy. And outside of that, I really want to make time to create and write, because that is like the thing that I care the most about in the wide view of my life. And the bird's eye view of my life, writing is so important to me. I began this 5 a.m. routine to make time for my writing over the winter. I've been doing it since, I think, January, and now it's Valentine's Day. Today's Valentine's Day that I'm filming this. I love it, and I will explain some of the reasons why I love it, some of the things that I've learned, and some of the downsides, which there's not many, but there are a few. One of which is just waking up at 5 a.m. That is a downside, I guess you could say. I graduated from my MFA last May, and I spent all summer job hunting, and then I moved and I started to work in September. I tried to write at other times of the day, and I cannot tell you how little I wanted to write after work. I attempted day after day, and to be fair, it's a bit of a half-assed attempt, but my reasoning for that is that when I come home from work, I have no juice left. I do want to kind of flex some creative muscles after work, but I've just learned that writing is not one of those things. It requires a part of my brain that does not work once I've gotten through my entire day. At that point, I have bombarded my brain, because it's the end of the day. By 5 o'clock, I've been on Instagram, I've been on Reddit, I've been on YouTube, I have talked to every person I know that I talk to on a daily basis. I've talked to my friends, I've talked to my boyfriend, I've talked to my boss, I've talked to my coworkers. At that point, it's very hard for me to turn off enough noise to be able to write. So I was on YouTube and I saw a video of this person who's very cool and posts kind of like reading vlogs, and they posted about trying out Toni Morrison's routine. And I opened that video, watched it, subscribed. I will link the video below because this is really like why I was inspired to try this. I was like, why haven't I just decided to try to do a morning routine thing? Because I was already waking up at 5:30 in order to have a little bit of a slower morning and to be able to do exercise before work. So I was like, okay, I'm already waking up at 5:30. I think if I condense my schedule just a little bit, like I can't move quite as slowly, because I would wake up at 5:30 so I could be on my phone until 6, you know, and then I would get out of bed and I would get changed and I would exercise. I decided that I would put together a schedule where I wake up at 5. I'm in my chair opening my laptop by 5:15, or I'm in bed. There's been some days when I just get back into bed and I open my laptop and I don't fall back asleep, so it depends. Sometimes my bed, sometimes my couch, sometimes right here in my kitchen at my table. And I will write from 5:15 to 6:15. 6:05, 6:10 is usually when I start to slow really down. Like between 6 to 6:15, not as much writing gets done. 5:30 to 6 is usually that sweet spot where I'm like really in the flow and I write for a while. And usually, I mean, the slower days I'll write 100, 150 words. The good days I'm writing 200 to 600 words, honestly. So pretty good, if I do say so myself. That's speaking from someone. That's speaking from someone? Does that make sense? What I mean to say is that is coming from someone who had no writing routine whatsoever in their 3-year-long MFA program. I had no routine at all. I had so much dead time, and that is the point of these MFAs. And that's, by the way, something that I would say is either a pro or a con depending on your personality. I was too young to know what worked for me because I was just coming out of undergrad. So in my mind, I was thinking, oh my God, I'll just be given like day after day of kind of nothing and no assignments and just writing. I mean, and that's not really true. We had assignments here and there and we would have readings. It was just so light in comparison to what I was used to in undergrad. I was used to reading much more and having much more demanded of me, more places to go, people to see, stuff to do. It was not that case, to the point where like going to campus would be like kind of a drag because I wasn't really going to campus a whole lot. I got a job at the library, so I was going to campus a couple times a week, but like outside of that, I would have 2 classes a semester or something like that. And I don't know, it was very pared down. That is all to say that I had so much dead time in a week that making myself write was a mind fuck, because I knew that I could always say, I'll do it later, I'll do it tonight, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it this weekend, I'll do it next week. If I had a deadline like upcoming, I would do it like the week before and the week of. It was by the skin of my teeth, like at all times. And I got writing done. I'm proud of the volume of work that I created by the end of those 3 years. And I'm proud of like the style that I tapped into, and I'm proud of the voice that I established as like a writer, because I really had no unique voice as a writer before I went to my master's program. I didn't really have a voice of my own outside of trying to like mimic other writers, which is commonly what happens when you're younger, and that's totally normal. I could always put work off. Now that I'm in a full-time job, I don't have that privilege. Like if I don't make time to do it, it doesn't get done. If I don't make time for the things that I love, I'll never get to do things that I love. I don't have the privilege of saying, I'll do it tonight, I'll do it tomorrow. Like I don't at all. At least my brain understands that now. I could not convince my brain to have urgency about writing when I was in my master's program. And by the third year, I was like really struggling to write. I wanted to write because I was working with George Saunders. So I would, force myself to write, and it would be grueling, and I would be dragging my feet and kicking and screaming and clawing and make myself write. And then I would get a story on paper, and then I would finally have something, and then I would edit it, and then it wouldn't be so bad. But like getting stuff on paper took so much like willpower and self-hatred. And by the time I got to spring of my senior year, where I had to edit a thesis and compile it with my thesis advisor, who was Mona Awad, I wanted to because it was Mona Awad, but it was so hard, because at that point I just felt, I guess I was feeling kind of defeated. Like I felt like maybe I'm not a good writer, or like maybe there's something wrong with me. I couldn't calm myself down enough to see what was the problem, and if the problem was me, if the problem was the environment. Like I couldn't figure that out, on top of just all of the social BS in an MFA, because Jesus Christ, there was that. Thank God that I found the people that I found, and that I met my boyfriend at my MFA, who was not an MFA, by the way. I don't think I could ever date another writer. I knew I had to create a routine for myself that would get me writing more, that would get me to get into the flow more often, that would get me to generate work. Like that is my main goal this spring, is just I want to generate volume. It's not so much about I want to write like the best thing right now. I just want to get words on paper, because that has been my Achilles heel. I'm good at editing. I'm really good once I have stuff, but getting the words on the paper past like a page, it just has taken so much in the past. I think a big part of it is not just the fact that I have this schedule that I'm forced into that makes me need to do a routine. I think it's also just the environment. I just moved here, so I don't really know people. I don't have a lot to do. I see my boyfriend on weekends. I hang out with his friends. I go to New York City. I go to upstate New York. That is my life. So the environment and the life that I'm in right now is just, there's not a lot to distract me. And I think that makes a big difference too. Life chapters and environments really impact my work. During the MFA, it was so emotionally draining and challenging, and I was always not thinking of writing. I was always thinking of people and relationships and frustrations and disappointments, and that was a really heavy burden, because I was always feeling like I wasn't good enough, and that I was always wanting to be liked. And I think now that I'm out of that environment, it taught me a lot about the fact that I do have an insecurity about wanting to be liked. And I think it's gotten better because I'm aware of it now. You know what I mean? Everyone was cool and talented, and that can just get explosive after a couple of years. I am really glad to be where I am now, where I have like no drama, because I have no friends here. Like, let's be honest. I have a long distance relationship and I have long distance friendships. That's where I am. And I have one friend from college who's in New Jersey, who's like 45 minutes away. And I did see them last week, and that was really nice. Some of the downsides, some of the things I've learned. So some of the downsides are the fact that you're waking up at 5 a.m. I have to be really diligent about my sleep schedule, because if I don't go to sleep at like 9:30, yeah, I am so tired the next day. So that has been a pain in the butt, because if I can't fall asleep, or I lose track of time, or I don't want to go to sleep, like I'm not tired, it makes it harder to like have a good day the next day. If I don't, then I don't fall asleep quick enough. That's the thing, is like when I'm going to bed at 9:30, I'm not falling asleep at 9:30, I'm falling asleep at like 10. That means that I'm getting 7 hours of sleep. So it's not enough, but it's like just enough. If I don't fall asleep or go to sleep quickly, then I'm getting 6 hours of sleep, and I don't want 6 hours of sleep. I want 7 at minimum. The other thing I've learned is that when I wake up, I absolutely, under no circumstances, can begin to check the notifications on my phone. I always tell myself I can check my notifications after I've written, and I have the rest of the day to check my notifications. I can look at my phone to my heart's content for the rest of the day, but during this hour, I cannot. The handfuls of mornings when I just did it and I just went on my phone, I went on Reddit or Instagram or YouTube, I would get sucked down the digital rabbit hole, and I could feel time passing, but at that point, the part of my brain that I use for writing was like, boo, and the part of my brain that I use for social media and like feeling scared about the world and stressed and mad at various aspects of the world was going up here. So now I can't really write anymore. And after that, if I do force myself to sit down and write, I write so much less, so many less words than if I had just stayed off of my phone. When I wake up, I can open my phone. Yeah, if there's like a text or two, I don't really get addicted to texting. I mean, no one's awake to respond to me anyway, so it's fine. Usually I just open my phone, go straight to Spotify, put in my earbuds, and that is when I just begin to listen to music that will get me hype. And then I transition into instrumental music as I begin to write. Abby Emmons' immersive writing session. It always helps if the sound is good. So, off I go. Almost every morning I listen to The Path by Lorde. That is like one of my favorite songs to just wake up to, because it's got this like, I feel like I'm in a movie and I have this like mystical aura about me, and I'm, just saying no to all the haters, and I'm getting my coffee. I hope that you feel kind of inspired to just create art at the time that makes sense for you, even if it doesn't really make any sense. You can make any schedule work. I don't know, get creative with your schedule and just be flexible. Another thing I'll say, I have to be mindful of my cycle, yes, my cycle, when I am doing this 5 a.m. routine, because the week that I had during my period the first time, which was like, I think was that last week? That was not great. That was really not great. I was like a zombie. Like I was so tired. So I've learned that I need to listen to my body. If I need more sleep, then I need to adjust to that, because I made myself do it last week and I could not get through my day without almost falling asleep at my desk. Last week and the week before, which was PMSing and then my period, I saw my productivity kind of wane a little bit. So I just have to be more aware of that and not beat myself up for it and get angry and be like, no, you're waking up at 5 a.m. Like, I'm not my own personal cop. I am a person who's trying to hold myself accountable to my artwork that, by the way, no one's asking me for. So, I don't have to feel overly stressed. I can be disciplined without being mad at myself, which is weird and stupid. There's different times of the month for everybody where you're stressed or you have something going on, or, with the things going on in this country, like last week I went onto Reddit and then I was just like looking at different political forums, and then I just started to get so freaking anxious, and then I didn't write at all. Don't check my notifications and adjust to my bodily cycles. Those are important things. If it means that I have to skip 2 days of writing at the beginning of my period, then so be it, right? Boo-hoo. No big deal. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching, you're a rock star. Remember that I'm on Instagram and Substack. Those are like my 2 other things. And I'm excited to start posting more on here and talking about creativity and spirituality and my life and some tips that I've picked up along the way, and also just like the kind of writerly struggles. Like I don't know everything. So I kind of want to just document some of my journey with writing as someone who's trying to not die on the streets, under a bridge. I'm trying to support myself. I'm trying to live a decent life as an artist. And if you want to join me in that journey, I will be here. So thank you so much, and see you soon.